The rain was relentless that night, a constant downpour drumming against the windshield, like nature's own heartbeat. Wipers squeaked rhythmically across the glass, but it felt like they were losing the battle, the world ahead blurry and half-drowned. Ethan Cole's Saturday behind the wheel of his silver Honda Civic, his fingers tapping the steering wheel in slow, tired rhythm, his eyes heavy, his chest heavier. It had been another long shift, same routine, same faces, same low pay. He didn't complain, not out loud, but lately, it felt like the weight of being fine was wearing him thin. The streets of Seattle were mostly empty, slick with reflections. Streetlights stretched like ghosts across the pavement. He turned off the radio, even jazz tonight felt too crowded in his head. The hum of the engine, the drum of rain, and the silence in his chest, all mixed into one dull ache. Ethan always took the longer road home, even though he lived alone, even though no one waited for him. Maybe especially because no one waited. The road curved ahead, a dark ribbon slicing through the trees, wood, quiet, lonely. His eyes drifted toward the passenger seat, just his hood, a fast food bag, and emptiness. And 10. Thud. The car jolted, his hands clenched the wheel instinctively, tires screeching as the Honda slid on the slick asphalt. It stopped sideways, headlights cutting through sheets of rain. His breath caught, his pulse roared in his ears. "What the hell was that?" Kay whispered. He reached for the door handle with a shaking hand, stepped out into the wet night. The rain hit him like a slap, cold and wild, soaking through his hood in seconds. He walked forward, boots splashing in shallow puddles, headlights illuminating a shape on the road. A long shape, then collapsed on its side. Ethan frowned. It wasn't a deer. 2 arms, 2 legs, a vaguely human shape, but alien. Its skin shimmered softly, green, with a strange hue that looked almost wet, almost glowing. Its eyes were huge, black and glassy, half open, but still. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. "What the hell are you?" he murmured, his voice barely audible over the rain. No movement, no sound, but a slow rise and fall of its chest, barely there. He looked around, empty road, no lights, no cars, nothing but rain and fear. He should have run, called someone, anyone. But instead, he stepped closer and whispered to himself, "I can't leave you here." Ethan stood frozen, rain soaking him to the bone, but his eyes locked on the figure in the road. It didn't move, not even a twitch, but somehow, he knew it was alive. Barely. "What the hell is this thing?" he whispered, his voice trembling. A prank? A costume? No. He could feel it in his gut. This was real, too real. A part of him wanted to get back in the car, lock the doors, pretend this never happened. Drive away, keep driving, don't look back. But something in the way it lay there, curled, vulnerable, almost peaceful. It reminded him of something. Someone once left a dying bird on their porch when he was 12, a blue jay, its wing broken. And he remembered how it looked up at him, its eyes wide, silent, asking for something without words. This felt the same. Ethan took a step closer, kneeling slowly beside the creature. Its skin pulsed gently, like it breathed beneath the surface, a green so deep it was almost beautiful. He reached out, his fingers hovering just inches above its chest. Warm. Not cold like a corpse, not rubbery like a mask. It was alive, and it was real. He looked around again, still no headlights, no sounds but the rain. "What the hell am I doing?" he muttered. He stood up, rushed back to his car, opened the back door, and yanked a blanket off the seat. Back at the body, he hesitated, then carefully, awkwardly, wrapped the creature up. Its long limbs folded too easily, like it had no bones. He struggled to lift it, its body light, but somehow, strange, off balance. The second he opened the car door, his brain screamed, "Are you insane?" But his heart whispered, "Help him." He laid the creature across the back seat, shut the door, and climbed back into the driver's seat. The rain hadn't stopped, but now it sounded quieter. Or maybe his thoughts were just louder. He looked into the rearview mirror, just a bundle in the back, wrapped in plaid fabric, like a stranger's nightmare tucked inside his own life. Ethan gripped the steering wheel and whispered to the storm, "Okay, let's just get home." Ethan slammed the apartment door behind him, rain still dripping from his sleeves, his whole body clinging to his back like second skin. He stood there for a second, just breathing, his heart pounding like a drum that had no rhythm. The creature was still in his arms, wrapped in the now drenched blanket, its weight awkward, its presence unreal. "What the hell am I doing?" he whispered, his voice shaky and dry. He looked around his apartment, cheap couch, half-dead plant, pizza box on the table, TV still glowing from this morning's news. This was not the kind of place where you brought aliens. Okay, he muttered, trying to think, trying to breathe. He laid the creature gently on the couch, blanket still wrapped tight around it, then took 2 steps back, as if it might suddenly leap up and bite him. But it didn't move. Its breathing was faint, but steady. The glow of the lamp caught its skin, making the green shimmer, soft, almost, calming. Almost. Ethan grabbed a towel from the bathroom, rubbed at his hair, his face, but he couldn't dry off the fear. He paced across the living room, 4 steps one way, 4 steps back, again. "Call someone," he said out loud, eyes darting to his phone. "The cops, the hospital, Nessa." Gay snorted. "Yeah, I hit an alien. Can someone come get it?" They'd think he was high, or crazy, or both. Or worse, they'd believe him, and then this thing would be locked in a lab, cut open, dissected like a frog in high school bio. He looked at the couch again, at the slow, careful rise and fall of the blanket. It hadn't hurt him, hadn't even moved, just lay there, breathing, quiet. There was something childlike about it, something that didn't feel dangerous. At least, not yet. He pulled up a chair, Saturday across from the couch, and stared. Time passed slowly, minutes dragging like wet clothes through mud. He kept expecting it to open its eyes, to sit up, to attack, to speak. But it didn't. Just breathed. And slowly, his own breathing began to match its rhythm. "I'm not gonna hurt you," Ethan whispered, though he wasn't sure who needed to hear it more, him or the creature. "I just need to know you won't hurt me either." He pulled the blanket up over its shoulder, then killed the lights, leaving only the soft blue glow of the kitchen bulb. The apartment was quiet, except for the ticking clock and the distant hum of rain. Ethan lay down on the floor, eyes wide open. Sleep didn't come easy that night. But he didn't leave, and he didn't run. That had to mean something. Ethan Saturday at the kitchen table, staring at the creature across from him. It was sitting awkwardly in the wooden chair, knees bent too high, back too straight, trying to mimic human posture. Its skin was a muted shade of green, soft-looking, its eyes large and dark, like endless wells of ink. They hadn't spoken, because the alien couldn't. Not yet. Ethan finally cleared his throat. "You understand me?" The alien blinked slowly, and gave a small, hesitant nod. Ethan leaned forward, both hands on the table. "Can you talk?" The alien tilted its head, then opened its mouth slightly, but no words came out, only a soft hum, like feedback from a distant radio. "Okay, that's a no." He rubbed his face, sighing. "You're lucky I didn't call the cops." The alien didn't react, but something in its expression, a subtle shift in its eyes, looked like guilt, or maybe fear. "I don't know what to do with you." Ethan stood up, walked in circles, then stopped and looked at the creature again. "You hungry?" The alien tilted its head again, clearly not understanding. Ethan opened the fridge, grabbed a peanut butter sandwich, tossed it on a plate, and slid it across the table. The alien stared at it, then cautiously picked it up, sniffed it, and took a bite. Its eyes widened. It took another bite, faster this time, then finished the whole thing in 3 more bites. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Okay, good to know. You like Earth food." They Saturday there, in silence, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound. Men and alien, to strangers in the same kitchen, sharing quiet and confusion. Ethan finally whispered, "What the hell do I do with you?" Ethan had no idea how this thing was still alive, let alone walking around his apartment like a curious toddler. He remembered the moment of impact, the awful thud, the body rolling under the headlights. And now, no broken bones, no bleeding, no screaming. Only quiet recovery. The alien's skin had begun to change. Where it was bruised, it was already healing, shimmering softly like rippling light underwater. Ethan sat on the couch, watching it from a distance. It was examining the television, fascinated by the moving images. He clicked the remote, changed the channel, and the alien flinched, then leaned closer to the screen. "You heal fast, faster than we do." The alien looked back and nodded once. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Is that normal for your kind?" No answer, just that same gentle stare. Ethan exhaled. "You're like a kid, a super weird alien kid." He got up and grabbed a first aid kit, out of habit more than necessity, and sat her down next to the creature. "Let me check your shoulder." He touched the area gently, where he remembered the impact had been worst. The skin was already smooth, as if nothing had ever happened. "Jesus." The alien suddenly reached out and touched Ethan's chest, above his heart, its hand glowing slightly, pulsing with warmth. Ethan frowned. Then the alien pulled back, its eyes filled with something like understanding. "What was that?" No answer, but the moment lingered. Something was changing. They were starting to see each other, not as threats, but as something else. The next few days felt like raising a toddler who just happened to be from another galaxy. Ethan gave the alien a name, Zek. It just felt right. Simple, not too weird. Zek didn't speak, but he listened, watched, and copied everything Ethan did. Ethan taught him to wave, to nod, to point. He even tried teaching him basic words. "This is a chair," Ethan would say, pointing. Zek would mimic the sound awkwardly. Air. His accent was strange, almost melodic. But Ethan couldn't lie. He found himself enjoying it. They laughed. Well, Ethan laughed. Zek would just open his mouth in what Ethan assumed was a smile. One night, Ethan turned on a comedy show. Zek sat beside him, staring at the screen. When the audience laughed, Zek looked confused. Ethan tried to explain jokes, gesturing wildly, telling stories, until Zek finally let out a strange, gurgly sound. A laugh. Ethan frowned, grinning. "You just laughed." Zek blinked slowly and made the sound again, a little louder this time. It was weird, alien, but real. And it made Ethan feel less alone than he had in a long time. Keeping Zek inside forever was never going to work, Ethan knew that. But taking him out, that was dangerous. So he did what any mildly unhinged human would do. He gave Zek a hood, sunglasses, and a baseball cap. Zick looked like a mix between a tourist and a suspicious hacker, but it worked. They walked downtown Seattle, Zick moving stiffly, eyes darting around. Ethan whispered, "Relax, just look casual." Zick tried to copy Ethan's walk, and nearly tripped over his own foot. People stared, but only briefly, then went on with their day. Nobody saw an alien, just a weird dude with a strange friend. They bought ice cream. Zick hated it, but tried anyway. They went to the park. Zick watched dogs with childlike fascination. A squirrel ran past, and Zick almost chased it. Ethan had to grab his arm. "No, we don't chase animals here." Zick looked disappointed. But Ethan saw something in his eyes, a kind of joy. Maybe Earth wasn't so bad, after all. They were walking through Pike Place Market when it all went wrong. Zick was staring at a fish flying through the air, tossed by the fishmongers, when he accidentally knocked over a crate of oranges. The vendor shouted, "Someone called security." Ethan grabbed Zick's hand. "Wow." They ran down the street, through an alley, over a fence. Zick was faster than Ethan, agile, almost inhumanly so. They ducked behind a dumpster, hearts pounding. Ethan peeked out. No one followed. He turned to Zick, who looked thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. Ethan couldn't help it. He laughed. That was stupid, and kind of awesome. Zick mimicked the word. Awesome. And Ethan knew they were in this together now. Later that night, Ethan sat on the couch, Zick next to him, head tilted. Ethan took a deep breath. "Where did you come from?" Zick blinked, slowly raised a finger, and pointed upward. To the stars. It was the first time Ethan truly felt the weight of it. Zick wasn't some weird stray dog he picked up. He was from another world. Another system, another reality. And he was alone. So was Ethan, in his own way. He did impress, not yet. But they sat in silence, and that silence meant something. A week later, Zick started to speak more. One word at a time, then small phrases. Ethan helped him watch cartoons, children's shows, YouTube tutorials. Zick soaked it all in like a sponge. Sometimes he would say strange things like, "Banana furniture is good dancing." And Ethan would laugh, until he cried. But Zick was improving. Every day, he sounded more human. Ethan taught him about music, movies, men's. Zick's favorite was a 90s sitcom called Friends. He loved Joey. He kept saying, "How you doing?" in the worst Brooklyn accent Ethan had ever heard. It was perfect. One morning, Ethan found Zick outside the apartment, looking at the sky. He looked worried. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked. Zach hesitated, then said softly, "They searching." Ethan's heart dropped. "They, who's they?" Zach didn't answer, just looked up. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. What if someone was looking for Zach? What if they found him? What if they hurt him? And why was Ethan, a normal guy with a desk job, willing to risk everything for someone he just met? But he already knew the answer. Because Zach wasn't just someone. He was family now. Zach had been taking apart Ethan's old electronics, TV remotes, kitchen timers, even the toaster. At first, Ethan was annoyed. Until one night, Zach showed him what he built. It looked like a radio, but it glowed blue and made strange rhythmic pulses. Zach pressed a button. A hum filled the room. Ethan stepped back. "Is that a signal?" Zach nodded. "Call, oh." Ethan sat her down slowly, his chest tightening. Zach had built a communicator, and he was trying to reach someone. 3 nights later, Ethan noticed a black SUV parked across the street. It was there again the next day, and the next. No license plate, windows tinted. Ethan's stomach churned. He told Zach to stay inside. Later that evening, there was a knock at the door. Not loud, just so deliberate. Ethan didn't open. Zach stood behind him, silent, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Whoever it was, eventually walked away. But Ethan knew. Time was running out. They packed bags, just in case. Ethan withdrew all his savings, rented a cabin in the woods north of the city. "It's temporary," he told Zach, "just until things cool down." Zach didn't argue. But he looked sad and distant. Ethan tried to cheer him up, brought snacks, movies, even let him drive a few feet in the empty parking lot. Zach crashed into a bush. They both laughed so hard, they couldn't breathe. But the tension never truly left. Ethan felt it in his bones. A storm was coming. One morning, Zach woke Ethan up at 4 a.m. Eyes wide, radio pulsing fast. They hear, they come. Ethan sat her day up, heart pounding. "Oh." Zach smiled. "My people." Ethan stared at the signal, its pulses forming patterns. It was beautiful and terrifying. Zach was going home. They Saturday under the stars, just like the first night. Ethan handed Zach a beer. Zach took a sip and immediately gagged. "Still bad," he said. Ethan laughed. They didn't talk much. Just existed together in the moment. Ethan looked at the stars. He tried not to cry. Zik leaned over, placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You are good human, good friend." Ethan nodded, swallowed hard. "You're not so bad yourself, alien boy." And for a moment, everything was still. Perfect. The clearing was silent, except for the hum of the device. It stood in the center, glowing brighter than ever. Zik placed his hand on it. His skin shimmered faintly. Above them, a slit opened in the sky, almost like a tear in reality. Ethan gasped. The light poured down. Zik turned to him, eyes filled with something Ethan didn't quite understand. "I remember you." Ethan smiled, even as his heart shattered. "Take care of yourself. Don't forget Earth." Zik tilted his head, then stepped forward. He hugged Ethan, tiny, warm, real. Then turned and walked into the light. The sky clouded, the clearing went dark. Ethan was alone again, but not the same. Days passed, then weeks. Ethan returned to the city, back to his job, his apartment, his routine. But everything felt different. Food didn't taste the same. Music didn't move him. The world felt quieter. He often glanced at the sky, wondering where Zik was, if he was okay, if he missed him too. Sometimes, he'd hear Zik's voice in his head, mimicking Joey, "How you doin'?" It made him smile and ache. But Ethan kept going. He had to. One night, months later, Ethan was cleaning out the closet. He found the broken radio, Zik's communicator. Dusty, burned out, lifeless. On impulse, he plugged it in. Nothing. He turned to put it away when suddenly it blinked. A tiny green light, just once. Then a small voice crackled through the static. It was Zik. Just one word. "Friend." Then silence. Ethan sank to the floor, gripping the device, laughing, crying. Zik was alive. Somewhere out there. And he remembered. Ethan stood on his rooftop, coffee in hand, cold morning air brushing his face. He looked up. Not searching, just hoping. The stars blinked above, quiet, steady. He knew he might never see Zik again. But that was okay. Because for a moment in time, he had made a connection across galaxies, across species, across fear. And that connection changed him forever. And if the stars ever opened again, he'd be ready.